Hello, I'm Nicola Furley-Smith and I'm Secretary for Ministries.
Hello, I'm Jenny Mills and I'm Secretary for Education and Learning.
We may be here today on screen, but I think we need to make it clear that we're part of a bigger picture.
Yes, as Secretary for Education and Learning, I'm based at Church House in London, and I do kind of everything education and learning. I liaise with the resource centres for learning and the Synods, and oversee Stepwise and anything to do with learning and training. Before I got into this role, I was a minister in local pastorate. Previous to that, I was a primary school teacher for 21 years. And I've been a member of a number of United Reformed churches, including being brought up in the Mother Church of Nonconformity in Wales.
As Secretary for Ministries, my role is to facilitate ministry of the whole people of God within the denomination by advocating and supporting ministry in its widest sense. As Jenny has said, I work at Church House and we're both part of the discipleship team. Prior to this role, I was a Synod moderator, and prior to that, I have had pastorates in St Helens, in Merseyside, Leeds, Oxted, and Wallington in Surrey. So I've been around a bit. Each ministry that I've had, even before I was ordained, I thoroughly enjoyed. No ministry is more important than another. All ministries are valued within the structures, and all are needed to make it work.
Do you mean like this? In 1 Corinthians 12 to 14, we can read, "For just as the body is one and has many members, and all the members of the body, though many, are one body, so it is with Christ. For in the one Spirit we were all baptized into one body, Jews or Greeks, slaves or free, and we were all made to drink of one Spirit. Indeed, the body does not consist of one member, but of many." So without the whole package of people, the United Reformed Church would not be the United Reformed Church.
Yes, I think it's just like that, the biblical model for how we work together and how we are a God-focused, Jesus-following denomination. We couldn't do without the whole plethora of ministries. Cleaners, ministers, flower arrangers, treasurers, synod clerks, the general secretary, children's and youth workers, coffee rota folks, secretaries, moderators, key holders, booking secretaries, deputy general secretaries, synod staff, pulpit supply folk, church house staff and secretaries, moderators to General Assembly, clerks to General Assembly, creche rope folk, and probably others we've missed out.
Wow, what a list. But what are you trying to say?
Well, I think what I'm trying to say is that without a lot of people, we would not be the United Reformed Church. Without people, we would not be church. We value and appreciate everyone.
And?
Well, we need to offer our thanks to all people in local churches, synods, and beyond. Thanks for their service, their commitment, their turning up and helping out, their volunteering and their giving of their time.
And do we understand why they do this? Is it because they have a few hours free or fancy some dodgy coffee and a few homemade cakes?
No, not at all. It's because they are responding to God's call upon their lives. They're responding to the gospel message of love, seen in the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus, and are seeking to be that love, to share that love, and to welcome others to find purpose, meaning, and God's love in their lives. It's because of this that they spend their time in chilly buildings or standing outside for fundraising events or giving up hours of support for families and groups of older folk as they do, for Bible studies and other activities.
Okay, so we're here today to say thank you for all who serve in the life of the United Reformed Church, and particularly in the life of the East Midlands Synod. A big thank you. And they've asked us along because they couldn't get the General Secretary?
Well, not exactly, although I have heard he is busy today. They've asked us because we're part of the staff at Church House, We're part of the wider structures of the United Reformed Church, and we can say thank you on behalf of the church to those here in the East Midlands Synod.
Okay, so thank you for your service. Thank you for your commitment and dedication to the life of the United Reformed Church through your local churches. And please take back our thanks to your local churches and contexts too. So we've done that. Are we finished?
No, not yet.
Oh.
We missed out 2 vital areas of service in our suggested roles, and I want to take a minute to offer a special thanks from ministries. Without our elders and without our lay preachers and worship leaders, much would not be done in terms of worship, safeguarding, leadership, compliance, building management, mission and discipleship development, and so much more. So many people ordained and commissioned to serve and devoting themselves to their roles to enhance God's kingdom here on earth. In the United Reformed Church, we profess the priesthood of all believers, and we see evidence of this in every local congregation. And I want to thank you all.
We're very fortunate, aren't we? In this Jubilee year, we hear so much about celebrating the past and looking forward, and yet many people are quite tired from the pandemic and all that's brought. The future feels a bit uncertain, doesn't it?
Well, it does. But I think what is clear from the fact that we are celebrating 50 years of a denomination that some say was born to die, God has not finished with us yet. God is still calling us. God is still willing us to step up, step out, and walk alongside people, seeking ways to help people transform their communities, build relationships that speak of Christ's blessing, and bring people together to learn more about Jesus and how to live the way he showed us.
Now, that's something that I can agree with. We are here and you are here because we believe that God is calling us to live the Jesus way. And we can only do that if we know what the Jesus way is. All of us here are at varying stages of our faith journeys, learning about the Jesus way. But, and I speak as Secretary for Education and Learning, we cannot grow, develop and flourish if we don't keep learning. As we learn through Bible study, stepwise sessions, small group discussions, worship, ad hoc conversations, reading Lent groups and so many other opportunities, we become more aware of God working in our world and in our lives and more attuned to what God is calling us to and where that might be.
Yes, and the focus entitled Walking the Way, Living the Life of Jesus a Day has been encouraging us all to think about our discipleship development and how we can make the most of lifelong learning, accepting that it never ends. There is always more to learn and more to find out and more for God to reveal to us.
So if we refer back to the beginning quote from 1 Corinthians, we all fit together as one body, but as we all know, the body has different parts with different purposes, and it's this variety that God calls. We each have gifts and talents unique to us. Part of being a follower of Jesus and a disciple is recognizing and nurturing those gifts and talents to help us grow.
Yes, and within the Synod and at assembly level, there are opportunities and possibilities to help us all keep learning and growing. You've mentioned Stepwise, and I know a faith-filled life group is beginning in the East Midlands Synod in later March. But there are other opportunities, such as engaging with one of the resource centres for learning, our colleges, and doing one-off courses or longer courses. Then there are local church initiatives that can be accessed either online or in person. And if you check the website or social media, you will see an ever-increasing number of opportunities to find out about ministry or the legacies of slavery or safeguarding or hybrid church and so many other interesting topics and sessions.
Well, that sounds great, but often we struggle to fund such learning or discipleship opportunities. Is there money to help?
Yes, there are small and large grants available for discipleship development. There are mission grants and building funds that can be accessed. Your first stop is your Synod. Try the training officer. I hear he is a nice chap in the East Midlands.
I've heard that too. But what if I want to find out more about the wider United Reformed Church? What can I do?
Well, go to the website, look up the United Reformed Church on social media, and finally, come to Church House in London on the 1st of October from 10 until 1. The building will be open and a living library of people to listen to and talk to. And then at 3 o'clock, there is a service in Methodist Central Hall to celebrate our Jubilee. For more information, go to the website or contact the Synod office and they can give you more information.
Wow. We've covered quite a lot of ground, haven't we, Nicola? And knowing you and me, we could probably have rambled on for a few more minutes at least. But I think the Synod clerk will be after us if we did. So we'd better stop there. But we can be contacted either by email or phone, and we love to talk to people. We love to listen, to point people in the right direction, and we want you to know that we truly value and appreciate all the effort and service given. We want to encourage everyone in continuing and in new ways of living out your faith in a loving, transformational God.
That feels like a great place to end. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye.